So by chanting this Maha Mantra, it clears away all of these obstacles that get in our way of spiritual pursuit. So thank you all for coming, friends of Tatiana. She's so kind to share her friends with us. So I don't want to, let's not look at this as a lecture. Let's have a discussion. So I'll talk for a while. Questions will come up. Let me have your questions. That's where the fun really is, in the discussion, not a lecture. So, the recipe for love. I think that's if we're honest with ourselves, that's the motivating factor for everyone. That's our chief motivation. We want love, don't we? I mean, we may want so many things. We may want enough money to pay the bills. We may want transportation and shelter, but ultimately we want all that so that we can achieve love. So this is ultimately the only important thing to the living entity. That would be you. So what is this recipe for love? So let's start out. I made a couple of notes here. Excuse me. To experience love, we must first have an object of our love. Someone or something must attract our love. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
I've had some people tell me, oh no, man, I just feel the love. So, of course, that was back in the 70s when people talked like that. Because some people maybe still do. So no, I just feel love. That's all I want is love. All right, it's like if your friend, a close friend of yours, comes walking in and says, guess what? What? I'm in love. What's the first question that you would think of to ask?
With who?
Who? Right? You don't say, oh, hey, far out. Maybe I can get some love too. You know, this is an impersonal way of thinking. I can have love on an impersonal basis. How could that even happen? How can you love something that doesn't attract you? For something to attract you, you've got to know a little bit about that thing that's attracting you, right? Follow me so far?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got to have an object of our love. Who? This is a very great crowd. Sometimes people say, what? No, it's not a what. I got a new BMW and I'm in love. You know? No, it's who. Well, when it comes down to real love, there must be an interpersonal reaction. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you can't love somebody that you don't know.
Correct.
Or at least know a lot about them, you know. So to feel loved, we must know that we are loved. Does anyone ever show of hands, ever feel unloved? That guy's holding up both hands. Boy, that must be. No, just kidding. No, he really was. Yes, from time to time we may feel unloved. So, whenever you feel unloved, that means, I'm going to try to put this to you gently, it means you're in complete illusion. You're completely wacko. It is not possible for you to be unloved. So, and I'll get to that. I'll prove that to you later on. So you should never feel unloved. If you're feeling unloved, and we all do from time to time, we've got to realize that something is wrong with our thinking. If we feel unloved for a long, long time, we start to think that we're unlovable. Has that ever happened to anybody? Come on, you're with friends. You can jump in. Ever felt unlovable? Oh, nobody loves me. I hear this a lot. To be loved, we need to be lovable, right? To be lovable, one must have the attributes that attract love. You see where I'm going with this? To feel worthy of being loved, we must first get to know our true lovable selves. There's another stumbling block between us and love. Sometimes we don't feel worthy of it. You ever felt that? Anybody? Yeah. Tatiana's the only one. Nobody else. It's not lovable. I mean, this is real life stuff here. I'm not making this up. So if we're going to get over that feeling of being unworthy of someone's love, we've got to get in touch with our real lovable self, which all of you are. All living entities are extremely, supremely lovable. And I can prove that in a minute. Along with knowledge of ourselves, we must also come to know and understand the supreme source of love. I mean, if we're going to understand, if we're going to experience love, and nobody wants partial love, do we? We want the whole thing, both barrels. Huh? We want it all. We want as much love as we can get. So, let's understand what this is. What is this love? So, and is there something or no? It's not a thing, it's a who. Is there someone that's supremely lovable? So that's where Krishna comes in. Krishna is a name of God, and it means all attractive one. God has unlimited names. We're not saying, no, this is the only name God. No, he has unlimited names. But this Krishna is a special name. It's like the Supreme Court Justice. While he's on the bench, people call him Your Honor. So if his name is Smith, his friends might call him Bob. Some people might call him Mr. Smith when he's not on the bench. When he goes home and he takes off that black robe and hangs it up, his wife may say, "Hi, honey." So what if he said, "Hey, wait a minute, what's this honey stuff? I want you to call me Your Honor." I don't think that's going to work very well. Does that work for you, Govinda? No, it doesn't work, does it? You need to train her better. So, yeah, because she has special names for her great husband, the great Supreme Court Justice, honey, whatever, you see. So, with someone great like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has unlimited names, but he also has sweet names that lovers call him, close, personal. And that main name is Krishna. Oh, all beautiful, all attractive one. So that's why we chant this Hare Krishna. We're chanting to attract and please that Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the source of love. God is the source of everything. Everything comes from the source. So, as we connect ourselves with the supreme source of love, we begin to manifest symptoms of loving and being lovable. So, loving people are lovable, aren't they? So, how do you know that you're lovable? Is it something that you just wish is really there? It's like when you write a letter to Santa Claus and you send it off, you just wish that it gets to the North Pole. So how do you know? So let's get into that. So if we leave this material world for a minute, and let's think about the spiritual world. The spiritual world is not just a few clouds in the sky. This material world is more like a few clouds in the sky of the material world. Material world is unlimitedly vast. This, or the spiritual world, is unlimitedly vast. This material world has its limitations. It's much smaller. So, in that picture of reality, the eternal world, which doesn't have a beginning and it doesn't come to an end, that's our reality. And so what's it like there? Basically, you have the Supreme. Call him at whatever you like. Krishna really fits, but you can call him anything you want. You can call him Fred if you want to. Maybe Fred means all beautiful, all loving one. So feel free to do that if that makes you feel better. So there's God, and what does he have to do? What does God have to do? Some people make it out like he's a really busy guy. He's always working. He's stilling the waters. What was that song that? Put your hand in the hand of the man who steals the water. You know, we're always throwing God in there like he's doing a whole lot of work. You know, he's moving this around and he's making the clouds come out of the sea. You see, no, he doesn't have anything to do. Now think about it. What if you were God? What would you do?
Show up.
Show up.
Show up for
Just
his devotees.
be you. So what is your activities? You have nothing to do. You don't have any bills to pay. You don't have to go to work. You've got eternity. What are you going to do?
Create.
The most wonderful thing that you can possibly do. Love. So, if you're the most lovable object, wouldn't you like to have people around you that love you? And those people that surround you, that would be us, the living entities, what would they be like? Why, every one of you is supremely lovable. I mean, when God looks around, he doesn't want to see anything but beauty. He's the source of beauty. There's no unbeautiful souls. By the way, let's ask that magic question. Should I ask the question? Yeah. How many here, show of hands, believe you have a soul? All right.
Don't fall for it.
I disagree. I don't think you have a soul. If you have a soul, who and what is this you that has a soul? Why are you separating you from the soul? It's like, you know, I have this, but it's not me. I have a car. So why do we do that? We automatically do that. People who are very advanced in spiritual life will fall for that. Yes, I have a soul. Well, where do you keep it? Is it on your keychain? Carry it in your pocket? Are you sure you brought it? Maybe you left it at home. Dang, that's what's missing. No. You are the soul. And you have this body. Now you are eternal. You're an eternal living entity. The body is temporary. Right, we're losing time. We're on like a clock that's going to run out, and we don't know when. So we're not this body, but we think we are. We do. Therefore, we say, yeah, I have a soul. Who is this I? So spiritual life means to identify who and what you are, and who and what is God. And what is your relationship? Or should we just wait till we get to our destiny and figure all this out? It's probably not a wise idea. This intelligence is available in the Vedic literatures and so many spiritual literatures. This is all available. This is what really makes us tick. We need to and we want to know this. What is my relationship with the source of love. Why does he keep me around? So the fact that we immediately think I am this body and I have a soul, that points out our biggest problem. That's our biggest stumbling block. The only reason that you think you might be unlovable is if you identify with this body and you think there's some defect with your body. Does anybody have a defect with their body? Yeah. I'm getting old. No, I'm not. I'm already old. Losing teeth. I have blood pressure issues. I have hey, can we talk for a minute? You see what I mean? If I start to identify with this body, now I'm telling myself that I'm really kind of unlovable. Right? I'm old. I've got health problems. Losing my energy, losing my sight. I'm losing everything, right? So therefore I may feel defective. Only because I identify with this body. What if you knew that you were an eternal living entity? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, does anybody, how many people here don't have Bhagavad Gitas? Did you bring some Bhagavad Gitas? All right, we have Bhagavad Gitas. How much are Bhagavad Gitas?
Donation.
Just donate. Give us whatever you want. Anywhere from 5 cents to $50,000, whatever.
Keep it under 100,000, please.
Got to keep it under 100,000. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that all living entities are my eternal fragmental parts and parcels. That would be you. That's all of us. All living entities are eternally fragmental parts and parcels of the source of beauty and love. So if you're a part of the source of beauty, what does that make you? You have to be beautiful. You have to be. And I'm not talking the kind of beauty that you see in this material world. We're talking the kind of beauty that God wants to see when he looks at you. What do you think he wants to see when he looks at you? Why? Beauty that will bedazzle him. That's your part in this story. You exist to enhance his ecstasy. He's complete within himself. He doesn't need us. He's the complete whole. Everything emanates from him. So he has everything. Right? But if you were the most beautiful object, think if you were the most beautiful personality, wouldn't you like to be observed? I mean, come on, this is just logic. So God is the same way. I want to be observed. Therefore, I'll be giving ecstasy to those who observe me, because I am the source of beauty. It'll give you great pleasure, immeasurable pleasure, to see me and to talk with me. And you know, since I'm the source of beauty and you come from me, I want you to be incredibly beautiful. I want to observe this incredibly beautiful part and parcel of mine. So this is the eternal relationship between the living entities and the Supreme. Now, I'd like to act like I'm real smart and try to make this sound real complicated, but that's the conclusion of all religion, isn't it? Is there a religion that would disagree with that? I've studied a bunch of them, so I never found one that disagreed with that. Your primary purpose for existence is to give pleasure to the source of pleasure. And that gives you in great pleasure, this reciprocation of love. You see? So, but to really feel our love for God, we need to know a little bit about him, you know. You know, in that scenario I said, if your friend said, I'm in love. Who? Oh, it's Krishna. Tell me something about him. I want to understand what it is that what is it about this guy that makes you feel so gaga? You know? Tell me something about this guy. Because if you're feeling the way you say you feel about this person, you must know a lot about him. So who knows a lot about God? Not many people, right? There are many people. It's easy to find people who will speculate about God. But if we go to scriptures will tell us all we need to know about him. And Krishna says, if you worship me with love and devotion, if you offer your homage to me, offer me your love, and if you're consistent with it, and if you're sincere, you will come to know me in truth, fully, beyond any doubt. So it is possible in this lifetime to know this all beautiful, all attractive, all loving source of love and beauty. But we have to know a little bit about him. And that kind of needs to be our goal, doesn't it? I mean, I have a simple mind, so I have to go by logic. So how many people, when you came here today, used a GPS? Yeah? So GPSs, especially for us older folks, they're amazing, aren't they? I always wonder, how does this satellite know where I am? Why does she tell me to turn right up? How does she know? My voice and my GPS is a lady, you know. When I just spent almost 6 months in India, in West Bengal last year. And I would check on my GPS to see where I am, like I'd be traveling through West Bengal, going to a speaking engagement. And I'm wondering, how long, what's my estimated time of arrival? So I use my GPS. And the funny thing is, when I got to West Bengal, the lady that was talking to me with a Bengali accent. I'm thinking, wow, this is unique. So the funny thing is, when I came back to America, she came with me. I mean, she's still in my phone. I don't know how she got there. She sounds very classy, kind of British, kind of Bengali. So but my point is, you're wondering, is there a point to this? Sometimes the old guys just start to wander. I used to let my mind wander, but sometimes it wouldn't come back, so I can't do that much anymore. So, but the point I'm making is that for a GPS to work, you got to give it a destination, don't you? Right? You put in your destination, where you want to go, and then the GPS gives you a path to take. So if you don't have a destination, a clear-cut, known destination, then what good is any path? If I say I'm on a spiritual path, but I'm not quite positive where this path is going to deliver me, what am I really doing here? I'm just going to be spiritual and see what happens? Doesn't make sense. No. You start out with your goal in mind. It's like Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. What is it that you want? It's like if you go to a travel agent and you say, gee whiz, I want to go on a trip. Travel agent says, oh, that's great. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, I mean, do you want beach? You want city life? Casinos? I need to know what it is that you're looking for me to suggest a destination. So for you to get on a spiritual path, you've got to have a spiritual destination. And that spiritual destination shouldn't be just, I hope this works out. You see, you've got to have faith. So, how many people here have ever had faith? Yeah, we've all had faith. So, is faith eternal? How long should you keep your faith? Huh? Who said that? Yeah, until you know. Faith turns into knowing. Otherwise, it's just blind faith. If I have faith that you're a nice person and I get to know you, then I'll know, wow, you really are a nice person. Or I may say, I was wrong. Probably not, though, right? So, faith should lead us to something. Faith should lead us to knowing. So, if I have faith in God, I want to know Him. What was that? George Harrison's words, I really want to see you. Everybody here knows George Harrison, right? I really want to see you. I really want to be with you. It wasn't just like, I really want to have faith in you. You know? Now, a lot of times we may want to just stop with faith, right? Because, you know, we're talking about the supreme entity here. That's a little scary in a way, isn't it? I mean, the all-powerful, all-omniscient. I mean, this guy's even more powerful than Santa Claus. Santa Claus knows when you're waking. He knows when you're asleep. He knows when you've been bad or good. God knows even more than that. You know? So we don't know a lot about this guy except he's really powerful. And I don't know about you, but I had people early in my life trying to convince me to be afraid of him. And you know what? It worked. I was pretty worried about him because the all-powerful thing, you know. What is he like? What does he dislike? Well, I've got a few rules here, and I better follow those or else I get in trouble. You see? If I follow these rules, then I'll get to go to a good place, and that means I don't have to go to the bad place. You see? I think many of us have had these kind of thoughts. Is that all we want out of our spiritual life? To be delivered at the feet of the scariest entity in creation? No, he's the source of beauty, the source of love. He is your dearmost friend and ever well-wisher. Sometimes at this point, after I said he so many times, somebody will say, how do you know God's not a woman? What do you think? You think God's a woman? How could you stop him from being a woman? How can you stop him from being a man? Everything comes from him. Male, female qualities, they emanate from him. Male and female qualities are within the Supreme. This Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're starting out, this Hare, we're starting out with his female personality, Radha. So we address Radha first, his feminine side. Oh, energy of God. Krishna, oh God, please give me some service that I can do for you because I want to demonstrate my love for you. Even though I'm not feeling a lot of it right now, I'm mostly kind of scared. Let's call I have deep respect, but I don't know enough about you to love you. So I'm going to chant this Maha Mantra, and you will manifest at some point. You will come to me. You will show me what you look like. I'll get to taste your love. We will establish a reciprocal relationship. And my eternal love with you will be restored. It's not that we have to learn how to love God. We don't have to learn how to love each other. We already do. We're just confused because we think we are these bodies. I may think, gee whiz, my body is this color. Someone else's body is a whole different color. When I identify with bodies, we have difficulty loving each other. Well, how can I love you? You voted for that guy. You know? Why, we have so many things that prevent us from loving each other. My political party versus your political party. My nation versus your nation. I'm a Yankee fan. You're an Eagles fan. Who are the Eagles?
No, Boston. Red
Boston?
Sox, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Eagles is football.
Wait a minute. There's no Eagles in Boston.
Sorry.
Yeah, we start comparing. Where did you go to school? Oh, I went to this university. Oh, we never liked them. So we start by my bodily designation and your bodily designation. We start to find our similarities as well as our differences. And I start to perceive that you are or are not lovable based on your body. You see? Well, that's foolish. Your body's temporary. Even if I did love your body, it's going to be a temporary love because someday your body's going to be unmanifest. The elements will claim it back. There's nothing lovable about a body. It's made of flesh and blood and bones and stuff we don't want to talk about. So, you, the spirit soul, are extremely attractive because you're part and parcel of the source of beauty. So we have to start realizing that if I have a loving relationship with this Supreme God, like I said, call him whatever name. Sometimes people get tripped up. They don't like to call him Krishna. Call him whatever you like. You know, if you get to know him, maybe you'll get on a first name loving. This Krishna is like a pet name. It's an affectionate name. So, all right, I was going to field some questions, but my talk must be so interesting that nobody has any questions. Or, more than likely, you're just waiting for me to take a breath so that you can ask a question. So, how much time do we have?
How much time do we have for questions?
Much time people want to ask.
All right, somebody let me know when to zip it.
Program.
Yeah, so maybe like
Don't do questions soon.
10, 15 minutes.
Okay, so any questions? Criticisms, disagreements?
We all agree.
All right, then 10 minutes of silence if you're going to do that way. We're not going to feed you until you ask questions.
So Hare is another name for Radharani, which makes God both female and male, both.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard when you give him a talk and go, he, she, you know, he's so much to, so it's, you just kind of default to he.
Yeah, well, we see God as the seed-giving Father. And the seed is planted in Mother Nature. So there is male and female personalities. God has both. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, lay it out there.
Like when you're when you're chanting, and you're trying to get this connection, trying to get deeper, what'll help you? Like, what can I? Because my mind's very visual. So what can help me get into this deep love like that? What can I visualize? Like, because often my mind wanders when I chant. But I try to keep it like on a crab pot or images of Krishna, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm staying like where I'm supposed to be visualizing or not supposed to be visualizing and just listening to the mantra. I'm kind of just wondering on that.
Yeah, good question. It's better if we hear.
Oh, okay.
Spiritual understanding begins with Shravanam, hearing.
So try to like cancel the mental picture a little bit. It's hard for me. That's why.
Hear the sound vibration, and then let that take your mind wherever it will. Hear that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Repeat that and repeat it. Ultimately, Krishna will manifest. He's already manifesting in that sound vibration. God and his name are one and the same. But ultimately, he'll manifest in your consciousness. You'll become Krishna conscious.
Will I feel any different?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You feel completely different. The object of the game, what we're trying to achieve, is self-realization. What are you? I mean, you're not this body. If you believe that you are the body, then you're not going to go very far in spiritual life. You know, that's more atheistic. There's nothing beyond the body. You know, there's no taste to that. So, you've got to realize yourself. When you do realize yourself, you're going to be perfectly happy. You're going to feel like, I know a lot of people say, I think what we need today is we need to learn how to love ourselves, right? Well, I disagree. Why don't you just get to the point where you're okay with yourself? Or at least, I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes we need to get over ourselves. You see? Let's find our beloved, be their beloved, and then once we learn get a little bit of taste of how to love God, you'll realize that you love all living entities because you see them as spirit souls and not bodies. Doesn't matter what religion you are, what nationality, what your material culture is. No, we have a spiritual culture, and it's made of transcendental love. This belongs to you. This is who and what you are. It's just a step towards delivering that consciousness to you. And as soon as you get a taste of it, it will be transferred from you, soul, to someone else. You cannot hide it. Those who are tasting this, even a little bit of love of Godhead, they can't hide it. It makes you very different in the way you deal with the other living entities. Not just the human beings, plants. Well, you'll have respect for plants, animals, big, small. You'll have, because they are part and parcel of Krishna too. It's just that because of their past activities, they're reaping the karma of being a plant. It's not a punishment. It's just, if we have desires and we follow through on our desires, that means we do activities, there are reactions to our actions. That's called karma. Another way to put it is what goes around comes around. So, but that's not your destiny, to be caught up in this world of karma and birth and death again and again. How many here believe in reincarnation? Yeah. So, it's the only thing that makes sense. So, where will you go when you leave this world? When checkout time comes, I remember I used to travel in business, and I'd always get that phone call from the front desk, sir, are you going to check out today? Because I was always late. It's checkout time. I need you to get out of that room. So that time will come for all of us. It's checkout time. You need to leave that body. You can't stay in that body any longer. It won't support. It won't keep you. So, where will you go? What's the destination? What's in your GPS? Do you have a plan? Or are we just going to wait and see what happens? So let's make a plan. Let's chant Hare Krishna. Let's learn how to uncover our eternal loving propensity. And let's live in that spiritual world of love now. We don't have to wait until we die. So this is like training. This practice of Krishna consciousness is like training for entering into the spiritual world of love. But don't wait until you're heading that way to try to learn it. Doesn't make sense, does it? We're just presenting an opportunity for you to learn it now and live it now. So it will be a graceful transition into the spiritual world when that time comes. So no more birth and death. And no more disease and old age. Sandwiched in between birth and death is disease and old age. If you're fortunate enough to live a long life, the good news is you get to be old. It's not a good deal. There aren't any good deals in this material world except chanting this Maha Mantra. You chant this Maha Mantra and your destiny is uncovered. So, before I close, any questions? Comments? If not, thank you so very much. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.